Hey, this is Ed with Ed and G, and I just want to do a quick recap before I get started on this morning. Of course, the latest is we have completed more paint in the rest of the house, and we completed that wall yesterday, leaving us one small area to complete as far as the wall covering goes for code purposes. Now, I wanted to talk just a little bit about the window casings and the way that G wanted those done. She wanted the country style, farmhouse style window casings, and that is just one of two that I've completed. Of course, I still have to caulk those corners and paint, but that's the style that the window casings are going to be completed in, okay? I left the bottom just a little bit longer on the side, just for accent. And then there's the big window in the living room. Same concept there at the bottom. And that's gonna give us the farmhouse country style appearance in here. That's what we're going for. We are not trying to build a modern style looking house. You figured that out by now. So that's the reason we're going with the painted shiplap. So I will check back after we finish that section and we'll see how it looks. Well, this video series is not necessarily intended to be a how-to by any stretch of the imagination. The disclaimer for me is I do not claim to be a carpenter. I do the best I can based on some very basic skills that I've acquired over the years. And so I'm saying this because I want to explain something about this wall. All right. So really, to complete that section of the wall, all you really need to do is have basic skills, know how to cut straight lines with your miter saw, and even sometimes you got to make sure your miter saw is straight. So you got to cut straight lines and make sure your boards are level, and have basic nailing skills, even with a pneumatic air gun. Now, when I got to that level that you see right above that light box, my wife wanted the boards to take a different direction. And in the corner there, she wanted those kind of, I say it, catty-cornered on a 45-degree angle. Now, that corner that you're looking at was the very first corner I did. I'm not great with angles. I really don't like to do angles, but I wanted to do what she wanted, so I attacked it, and it didn't turn out too badly. But the whole purpose of me sharing this, and then of course you see the middle there, we just went vertical, and to change, just to break up the monotony. Now when we got to this corner, of course I had to add that little strip there, that little 1 3/4 inch strip. But then this final corner was the last on this side of the house. And getting those boards in there was a little bit of a challenge since I had already completed the rest of this wall. And the black marks you see is from a rubber mallet trying to get those things in place. The joints didn't end up perfectly, but no need to fear for us, is because that is most likely going to be covered up with a trim piece. And the transition piece there will cover the change of direction, and it'll hide those imperfect joints, okay? Now, so I said all of that to say that based on my experience yesterday, I did this corner a little bit differently, okay? And you can see that looks tight and neat and very nice, okay? So what I did is I went ahead and I cut all of my boards out at the cutting station. I cut all of the boards because it really, you know what size you need because you're making a kind of a triangle. I cut all of those boards and then brought all of them up and put them into place. And then I could tell if I needed to shave a little bit off one side because I was working toward a certain point there, okay? Now, so my fourth and final corner, which is right there, okay, I have already completed it and I have it at the cutting station and it's ready to be installed. Now, so, like I said, this is not normally a how-to YouTube channel because I don't feel like I have enough experience to really be telling anybody about carpentry especially. But if you are a do-it-yourselfer like myself, if you're gonna do a cut like this, if you're gonna do these corners, and I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't know what it is, maybe consider putting all the pieces together and then, because I'll tell you what it's going to alleviate. So I'll just take that in there and I'll install it into that corner. But what it's going to alleviate is having to get those weird cut pieces into a tight space. And now, first of all, those rubber mallet marks are going to be covered up with paint. We'll sand them off some and then of course they'll be painted. But pre-cutting them will alleviate having to force that into the space. So I just thought I would share that. All right, that's the finished product of that last little project. And I will say that the method I used that I shared with you just a few minutes ago definitely helped. You can see probably an 1/8 to a 1/4 inch gap right there, but I'm not gonna worry about that because I kind of do plan on putting a trim piece up there it'll be like a transition strip on the change of direction in the wood. So I'm pretty excited about that. I wish that my original or my first attempt on the other side of the house would have been as neat, but it wasn't, and I'm not gonna go back and redo it. I think that the trim piece will hide that, and really, quite honestly, I'm the only one that's gonna care about it. So anyway, I just wanted to show a final product. The lower portion of this house is complete up to, we're ready to put flooring down now. So we're gonna paint first, and then we'll put flooring, and then in my spare time, I will go up to the loft areas and finish those.